Initially, the plan was to talk about Devtools and do some more practice, as we did last time. But I saw that it might be useful to talk about Flexbox first and talk about a bit of keyframes and animation first, and then the next lesson, the last one, we will talk about Devtools and we will try to build something again. So yeah, today will be about Flexbox mostly, and yeah, as I said, keyframes, etc. So let me just sorry, I'm still coughing. So, does anyone have an experience with Flexbox? Yes, no? Any messages? No? Nope. Okay. Nope. Perfect. Perfect. We have more no's than yes, which is great. Good for me. Yeah, so, sorry. Okay, so Flexbox basically is just one part. That was a separate thing a few years ago in CSS, but now it is I would say, the important part of CSS. And this is the way how we normally position and work with and build our layouts. And yeah, so it's very easy with Flexbox. It's very easy to build a responsive layouts and position your elements, put in the right places. You saw a bit on our previous lessons when I was building something. But yeah, so Flexbox is great, and gladly now it is supported by all browsers, because when I was starting my career, it wasn't. So that was a bit painful. But now if you go to can I use, we have Flexbox. As you can see that we have all green. The only one is, as usual, Internet Explorer, but it just requires a prefix, browser prefix. But even more, now Microsoft doesn't support the Internet Explorer, so technically you shouldn't support Internet Explorer, and you can say Microsoft doesn't, so why I should? So yeah, Flexbox is covered everywhere, which is great. So you can safely use it and expect the same behavior in all browsers. Yeah, so I have examples for Flexbox, which as usual, I have code examples. Let me just open our CSS grid. By the way, you can see my screen, right? I just want to make sure, because sometimes I normally forget. So what do you mean by, oh yeah. So browser prefix means that when you write, for example, let me just open CSS, any CSS, and not this one. CSS grid, the second, the wrong folder, or not the wrong one. Wait a second. Yeah, this one. Why I can see, oh yeah, sorry, wrong one. 1 second. I'll show you what I mean. So lesson 5, examples, and Flexbox. And I want to open index.html. Yeah, here we are. So when I'm saying prefixes, browser prefixes, I mean that, for example, you have. I'm just looking for. My goodness, sorry for that. I just want to close this one, open this, and open this one. So here, for example, I have flex shrink. So with browser prefix means that I need to put -ms Microsoft -flex shrink. And so when I'm writing my CSS, I basically need to have both to cover the Microsoft. So yeah, normally we have because we're using CSS, we write in variables, we create in mixins, etc. But yeah, don't think about that. You shouldn't be worry about Internet Explorer now too much. As I said, Microsoft doesn't support it anymore. So yeah, this is browser support. We had before, as I remember, we had something like O, which was Opera, and I think we had something else as well. And we had, oh yeah, by the way, if you want to have like a just Chromium specific, that was WebKit, I believe, to support just browsers that have WebKit as an engine. So this is basically just specifying the engine of the browser. Okay, so let me just remove my code and we will start from the very, very beginning. Great. So, sorry again. Yeah, so for Flexbox, you might heard about CSS Grid as well. So for Flex, we have a difference between that. And for Flexbox, content comes first. So it's based on the content. So you have a content, and with Flexbox, you try to build a layout based on your content. Right? In CSS Grid, it is different. So in CSS Grid, you create a grid and you try to fit your content inside that grid. Right? Again, just to repeat, with Flexbox, you have a content and you, based on your content, you create a layout. With CSS Grid, you create a layout with CSS, and then you try to fit your content into the grid, into the layout. Yeah. So we have two, like again, this is abstract names, but we have two types of elements. We just kind of separating them of, yeah, it just abstracted names. We have flex containers. That means that you have the element that contains the flex elements, and we have flex items. So the items that's inside flex container. And that is why we have two types of properties. We have properties for flex containers, and we have properties for flex items. Yeah. So to define flex container, all you need to do is just set display flex, and this is it. So you don't need to do anything else. Just display flex, you have a flex container. And the direct children of that element will automatically become flex items. So yeah, for flex containers, we have properties like flex direction, flex rep, flex flow. We will go through every single today, but yeah, I'm just quickly covering justify content, align items, align content. For flex items, we have order, flex growth, flex shrink, flex basis, flex, and align self. Sorry. You will not use all of them. I would say probably like 60% of these properties you will use. I never used flex basis, for example, but again, we will cover every one. Yeah, everyone today, all of them. I haven't used order as well, etc. Yeah, stuff like that. So let's go to flex container properties. The first one is flex direction. So by default, when you set in display flex, flex direction by default is row. So all your elements will be aligned vertically. All your children, direct children. Sorry, horizontally, not vertically, horizontally, row. We also have, you can specify a row reverse, so you'll change the order, but still row. You can change to column and column reverse. I will show you, because we have examples here. As well as usual, I just want to remind that you have access to this code, so you can play at home after. So let me open the inspect. And here, if I take the first one, So this one, as you can see, has display flex, right? And we have, yeah, let me untick this one. So we have display flex, and by default, it is a row. So it goes just 1, 2, 3. I can, let me just find my element. So I can specify to row reverse, right? So if I reload, now it starts from this side and goes from 1, 2, 3, right? In opposite order. So this is row reverse. Also, you can have column. And this is what you already saw. We have 1, 2, 3 as a column. And you can have column reverse. Refresh, we have 1, 2, 3. So for column properties, you need to have a height fixed height for the parent, because your element will grow with quantity of your element. So if here, do I have height? No. So let me just start adding more elements. And you can see that it is growing, right? So it's not going to the next column, it's just growing. But if I set height, for example, to this one, 300 pixels. So we have just one column and everything is shrink just to fit into this column. But what we can do, we have flex wrap, and we will talk here about flex wrap. But I can fix it to allow multiple columns to flex wrap and wrap, right? So now you have columns here. Yeah. So we have just columns now. So now if I'm creating more elements, I'm just, wrong structure. Yeah, so we are fitting them within this layout. So this is columns. Yeah, let me refresh. So this is the property here. We have column reverse. So we have 1, 2, 3 in the reverse order. So flex wrap, as I already started showing you, it allows basically to wrap to another row or column. So what it means for us is that here I have multiple elements and I have widths 200 pixels, right? So if you hover on the element, it actually has 134 pixels. And you might be surprised, like, Spectre font. Oh, yeah, sorry, as usual. Is it better? Yeah, the font size, is it better? Yeah, perfect. Sorry about that. Yeah, so as you can see that I specified width 200 pixels and we have only 123 now, which is wrong, right? If I shrink it even less, like 89 pixels, almost 90. So this is a problem. And to fix this problem, basically you need to allow to have next row, right? So all you need to do is just set flex wrap. And now we have all these boxes is 200 by 200, right? Because they have space. If they don't have enough space in one row, they will just automatically create a new one. So yeah, you will use flex wrap quite often, I would say. You also can use wrap reverse just to have a different order. But yeah, I to be honest haven't used it because I haven't seen a case for that. Yeah, if you find them useful, feel free to use. But flex wrap is like probably one of the most used properties of Flexbox. So by default, you have no wrap. this is a default value. As you can see, it doesn't change anything because this is a default value. Yeah. So the next one is flow. So flex flow is basically combined flex direction and flex rep. Yeah. So it's the same but in one set. So if I select this group and we will check here, we have, for example, flex flow column. So you have flex direction and rep. So you have rep will be your element to have multiple columns, right? So if I click on this one, it doesn't wrapping. Remember, because we don't have height, right? So if I set height, so I don't know, 500 pixels, now it is wrapping. Oh, it's too big. Let's just allow, I don't know, 1000 pixels. Yeah, so now we have 2 columns. So remember that when you want to have, if you want to have columns, you need to specify the height of the container because it will never go to the second column. Yep, as we can see it here. So flex flow is just like combination of 2. Bam, bam. Let me just untick. Okay, so I would say this one, the justify content, is the most useful and yeah, the most popular property of Flexbox because this is about horizontal alignment. So before Flexbox, we used to use we use float to position elements, and that was very painful because we had other problems that we discussed before on previous lessons with float. But now to position your elements is very, very easy, and this is just great. It's very helpful to have these properties. So by default, again, when you have justify content, so if you do not specify justify content, it is flex start. So by default. So if I take my property flex start, it doesn't change anything, right? But we have flex end. So that means that your group of elements, the children flex items, will go to the right side, right? Next one is center, which is also useful. Space between. So it basically spread the spare space equally between your items. We have space around, which basically have equal space between elements, and the rest, this spare space, it will use on left and right. And you have space evenly, so you have even space on every single side, right? So this is how it works. You have slightly bigger space here and here because I have some padding for my container. That is why. So if I remove padding, you will have absolutely identical space for all of them. Yeah. So again, justify content is very, very popular. Every single project you start writing your code, you will use it a lot. Can you use center and evenly at the same time? What do you mean? Or does center anyway? Not sure I got you, because this is about horizontal positioning, so it can be center or evenly, right? Because it's just about and what do you want to see on that? If you want to have space evenly center, not sure what do you mean by what the output should be. Not sure if it does space evenly center the items anyway. I'm not sure that I understand about center the items, because it's about horizontal positioning. So you can have that right or left or center or space between. So you're just manipulating with spare space. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Feel free to ask in Slack. Yeah, so this is a vertical, this is horizontal, alignment, right? And as you might guess, if you have a horizontal alignment, we have a vertical alignment, and you can do that with aligned items. So this is another section. Here, by default, you have stretch. This is the default value. And to align them, sorry. So if I tick stretch, it doesn't do anything. You can do flex start. So if I click flex start, it align, and you can see it's based on the content, right? So you just shrink the elements if they don't need that much space. You have flex end, same thing. Align item center, so it basically creates a baseline and align all of them to the center. And you have baseline, which basically on the beginning, but align to the center of the tallest element, right? The center of the tallest element. So this is align items. We also have align content, which is kind of similar. I will show you the difference. So stretch is a default as usual. Flex start, so you actually, it's not based on the content, because here, let me just find the height, specify the height. Wait a second. Height, initial, height. 1 second, because for some reason it, let me check. What have I done for this one? Okay, so I set initial. Okay, fair enough. So yeah, the parent. So we have flex start, flex end. As you can see, it moves as a group. By the way, do I have this group? Do I have the column? No, I don't. It just narrow. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So here you can see that we are moving as a group all together. Center, right? And space between and space around. So it doesn't modify the height of the element. Yeah. This one does modify the height. It kind of creates, I would say it kind of creates lines for you. But yeah, normally the typical combination for you is justify content, align items. This is like a typical combination when you build in your layout. So yeah, pretty much it. I will show you, like, let's go to code base, CodePen. I just want to show you quickly an example. So imagine we have div and we have multiple lies, 5, 6, whatever. Okay, so for my div, I want to set display flex. Then I want to have height. Height, I don't know, 400 pixels. And background green. Yeah, so this is my div. For allies, I want to set height to 150 pixels, width 150 pixels, background, I don't know, pink, and yeah, I think this is it. Yep. So, and list style none. Perfect. So to align them, to the very center of the section, you can do that only with like 2 lines of code, right? So you have justify content to, I don't know, let's make it more visible for you. So I will add border. Yeah, border 2 pixels, solid black. So you see boxes, right? And here you will have justify content center, and you have align items center. Yeah, easy. Or you might want to have something like space between, or space evenly. Yeah, something like that. So it's very, very easy to position your elements within container. So just basically 3 lines of code and no pain at all. And I don't know if you played with float, it is painful. Float is very, very, very bad, I would say. So yeah, this is, as I said, you will use them a lot. Like every single section on any page, you will use something like that to position your element, to convert to the flex, and then to align your elements vertically and horizontally. Yeah, so the next stop is about flex items. So flex items, again, this is direct children of flex container. And here I will show you what kind of properties you can add to each element, each child. So here you can set order. So remember, this is the whole container, right? So this is flex, display flex. But now we work with children. And we can play with order. Let me just untick order that we have. And here we have 1, 2, okay, yeah, we lost 3. Let me untick 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so this is default order of my elements. If I want to change the order, I need to set order to any element. And as you can see, I'm setting order 1 to my box 3. So tick, and it comes the last. So, sorry, the logic behind that is that it takes all elements that don't have order. So it puts it on the very beginning, and then it starts allocating elements by order. So because I don't have order for first 4, for these 4, they comes first, and then because I set order 1 to 3, third box, I have it as a first ordered element. So now for this one, I can set order 2, and it is here, right? So it goes after 3, and we have just these 2 things. Well, let's say I will set order to 3. It still doesn't matter because we have just 2 ordered elements. So that means that this one will try to sit on the 3rd position, but we don't have a 2nd. But if I set for 5th, for example, I will set order 2. Now it comes after 3, right? So 3 has order 1, then 2, then 3. So this is how you can allocate specific element within your elements if you need. Again, I'm not working with that a lot because I don't know, I didn't have any use cases for that. But you can do that very, very easily. So flex grow is actually used very often. So flex grow basically means that you can expand one element to allocate spare space. So here, see that I have 5 elements and I have a lot of spare space on the right. That means that if I want to fulfill this spare space, I can set just flex grow to 1, and that's more than enough. Yeah, and now I fulfill this gap. Or maybe I just want to make the second element to fulfill the gap. So I will do something like flex grow 1, right? And now my second column takes everything, the rest of the spare space. So technically you can think about that, okay, imagine that you have some, I don't know, blog page, you have some content on the left, then you have actual content, the article, and then you potentially have one column of some ads or links to another articles. So for you, that will be something like that, right? Or maybe you can tweak these numbers and say that for this one, for third box, you want to flex grow 1. So then now 1 and 1, they are equal, right? So technically for this one, you can change to 2 or maybe 3. So that will take 3 times as that one, or maybe 4, right? So you can actually play with these numbers to allocate enough space for this one. So now 5 means that 1, it takes the flex grow 1 and multiply by 5 basically. It's approximately the right number. Yeah, so this is how you can manipulate with grow. But in real life, sorry, in real life, you will probably just fulfill the spare space. This is what we do quite often. So you just do like flex grow 1, and this is it, because you want to take the spare space. Yep. It is very useful. So shrink is basically the opposite. You can play with shrink, and yeah, for shrink, let me just show it to you. I just want to select one element. So here you can see that I want to shrink that 2 times. So this is a half of other elements, right? This one is twice as big, the second is twice as big. So it works in opposite way. So if I do it 2, it shrink again as well. But if I do 0.5, it expands actually the element. Yeah, and this here we have just 1 and 1 basically for them, for these 3 elements, 3, 4, and 5. So you can shrink the element. Again, in real life, I don't remember when I've used and the actual use case for that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you will find some use case for that, but I haven't any for you. Yeah. Yeah, flex bases, we can skip this one. To be honest, I don't actually work much with this one. So you set in flex bases to some value, and this is it pretty much. I think that you can. So now, if you shrink, it will shrink. Ooh, it's still shrinking. The original one. You can. By the way, this is actually a good use case. So if you see that your element is shrinking, right? What you can do, you can set, because you set 200 pixels, you can set flex shrink 0. So you saying that please do not squash my element. You can squash the others, but don't do that with my element that I decided. So if you use flex shrink, that means that if I start resizing, I have 200 pixels for this element, but if I resizing, it doesn't affect it, right? Oh, sorry, it just ran away here. So this is how you prevent basically resizing of the element with flex shrink 0. Flex. So flex is a combination of flex grow, shrink, and bases. It's just 3 of them basically. So if I select 1, let me just expand it Oh, we don't have it here. Okay, fair enough. I just want to find the element. So here I can, this is again, you can combine flex shrink, flex grow, and flex basis, which is auto, for example. So here 0, it doesn't have enough space to grow, but for shrink it will work, right? So, oh, wait a sec. Oh, wait a second. Actually, so this is growing. Perfect. Let me just put it back, 0. Oh, see, it doesn't work for the second property. Yeah, because this is auto. I think if you set to 100 pixels, no, 0. Yeah, so it is growing. Here it is, it's still growing. It should grow 110, 11 auto. This is a typical case when you have a 11 auto to grow the element. But normally you just use flex grow. Again, I don't use flex a lot, this combination of these three. It's normally enough flex grow and set it the specific value. And the last one is align self. So align self is basically you can align one element, right? So we have align items to align all of them, but you can actually align one element. So for this one, you can set, you have align self center, you have align self end, right? So you can actually build some weird tree or whatever. And for example, for this one, if I set align self and let's say center, right? I can build something like that. So yeah, you can build weird layouts, I would say, with this one. Or you can technically, I'm just thinking what kind of weird combinations we can have. So that can be start, force can be like a chess board, right? So that can be flex, align center, and that should be center. Oh my gosh, align self. Sorry for that. Align self, center, and for the fifth one, you just remove this one, right? So you have some kind of a chess. You need to fix the height, etc., tweak it, but this is another story. But you can actually play with this positioning for each element separately, which is the most important part. Yeah, so this is Flexbox. And again, you normally use it on every single project that you are working on. So you will definitely pick it up. I have a great game. I think that some of you might see it here. By the way, you can go through each property and read the explanation for each, what it does, etc. So we have all these slides here. I just want to show you here. You probably saw this game if you played a bit with Flexbox. So here, you're basically just learning Flexbox by playing this game. So you just writing the code here. You need to place the frog onto the leaf, right? So for us, in this case, it's just justify content and flex end, right? And you can go to the next level. Here they have all explanations, what each property does, etc. So that should be fine. You definitely will figure it out how to work with this one. Great game. Was very helpful when I was starting my career, I think. And that was a while ago. Yeah. Sorry. Another thing, do you have, by the way, before we move to the next one, do you have any questions about Flexbox? Can you demo Flex Grow? Demo flex grow on justify content. So justify content is horizontal alignment. It's not column, right? Or you're saying flex direction column? Depends what. So what is the idea behind? What do you want? How do you flex direction? Yeah. Okay. So flex direction column, and you have flex grow. Why flex grow? So what? Yeah. It would be nice to understand what do you try to achieve with this property, like basically what kind of layout you want to build. Yeah, I don't know. I can of course try to guess what you're planning to have. So we have our boxes, and you try to position. So flex grow. Let's say. Flex grow 1. Okay, so we can do flex grow 1 for all of them. And what do we want to have? Flex direction. Flex direction column. Yep. And flex rep. Something like that. I'm not sure that, are you asking about this thing? Or you want to ask about something else? No? Yes? Okay. Yeah. I think, not sure what do you try to achieve, of course. Yeah, but fair enough. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's go then to keyframes, because keyframes is so exciting. I like this part. So keyframes, sorry, is basically the way how you can do animations how you can do animation with with CSS. So yeah, you basically you have CSS, and you don't need to have a JavaScript to build animations, and I'll show you all these examples in a second. So the default syntax for keyframes is you have @keyframes and then the name of your animation that you want to have. And then inside you will write like a blocks where you will specify some specific stylings on each step. So here I have like from to, so basically it's from 0 to 100. You can write from 0 to 100. This is the same. And you can also specify any step like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%, etc. You can have 100 steps. You can have more than 100 steps, like 0.5, stuff like that. You can go wild, but normally you have just, normally you have just a few steps. Maybe you have like 0, 15, or 0, 20, 50, 80, and 100, or something like that. So just a few steps. It depends on the complexity of your animation, of course, but yeah, this is keyframes. So then when you have your keyframes, if want to use this keyframe, this animation for your element, you just write in the animation name. So in our case, we had here we have slide in. So we will have something slide in, then duration, then timing function, animation delay, animation iteration count, direction, fill mode, and play state. I will show you again all these examples in a second. Let me just go to so CD. I just want to make sure that I'm opening the right thing. tags cd. Come on, tags open, and this is index. Do we have title? Wait a second, where's my, I'm wondering, oh yeah, okay, so this is tags. Where's the animation? Give me a second. Oh, animation here, perfect. So cd lesson 6 examples, and here we will have open index. Here we have animations. Let me just open the CSS file for this lesson, for this stuff, and I'll show you the index. Perfect. So I just want to show you that here I created an, wait a second, why transform? All right, sorry, my bad. Here I created an animation, right? Move around. So for on the very beginning of my animation, it will start from position from 0 on x coordinate and 50% to on y coordinate. And now I'm just basically on each step, I'm changing the position of the element, and to use it, so I want to have it to apply to my element keyframes here. So let me just open this element, and basically I'm setting animation name to move around. Then I need to have animation duration 2 seconds. Then I want to have animation timing function like steps 20, for example. And basically that should work now. But here is a combination of all of them. This is how you normally work with how you normally apply animation. You have animation, then the name of the function, then you have basically duration. So how long it should take to make one circle, the full circle, the full cycle basically. And here you have the timing function. This is a huge topic. It is maybe not a huge topic, but it's a separate topic about timing functions. We have quite a few. Here we have duration, the delay, sorry. So it's wait 1 second before it starts moving. Then infinite means that it wants to do it forever. Reverse means that it starts in opposite order, so we can remove this. Both, I don't remember what it does. And running, so yeah, running I will show you because it's running. And if I hover, it should stop. So in my case, I will uncomment this line. And for hover, I will change this from running to paused. So animation play state will be changed when I'm hovering on the element. So if I refresh, you saw that. Let me refresh again. Please pay attention that it will wait for a second before it starts the animation, because we have specified that in the CSS. So if I refresh, waiting, and start moving, right? So now if I hover on this element on any point, it stops, right? It stays on the same position. If I remove my mouse, my cursor, it will continue. So you can build different animations. You can build bouncing stuff. You can do, just crazy stuff. You can go wild with it. And we can, theoretically, create some examples here. And actually, let me just go through. Let's find some examples, because people here on CodePen, they just go nuts sometimes. Keyframes. I just want to see what people can do with keyframes. So yeah, Looks nice. Looks nice, yeah, right? So this is keyframes. So basically they've created all of that with CSS. You don't need to have JavaScript for that. You don't need to have a GIF or whatever. It's just CSS, right? And not much CSS. You have one tiny animation function, and then you have you're applying this to each element, and this is it. And you have just different delay for each. Looks nice. Another one. Ooh, oh my gosh. No, they have some JavaScript. Okay. I saw that they just a pure. Nah, this is fake. It's not real thing. Let me check. What do they have? Let's check other people. It doesn't do anything, right? All right. So when you're hovering, actually doing something, right? So it is glowing. See that all this stuff you can achieve with keyframes, because you can apply some blur filter or different filters, different CSS properties, and that can do that for you. So yeah, red, if you hover, it just disappear. If you remove, it just do it for do glowing basically, right? So again, keyframes is very powerful, and I think that for most animations now on UI, you probably don't need JavaScript unless you're doing something very crazy. But it's just easier to achieve with JavaScript rather than with CSS. But I think it's still possible. So yeah, neon glowing, perfect. Let me see, maybe we can find something interesting, something really nice. Sorry, I will mute you. Yeah. Scroll indicator. Let's see what we have. Nah, nothing crazy. It's very simple. Oh yeah, it just bouncing thing. That's simple. Okay, so this is basically our keyframes. About timing functions, I want to show you the difference between different timing functions. Because let me just close this one and we will go to timing functions. So I will set that I want to slide 4 seconds for all of them. So now this is default timing function, one common for all of them. And now for each, I will start changing timing functions. So here for the first track, I'm setting to ease. As you can see, this is the default value for sliding animation function, for timing function, sorry. So for the second, I will change to ease in. And you can see that it is moving in a different kind of speed, right? So we will change to ease out for the third one. Let's see. It's moving again in different way, let's say. Then we go in ease in out. Let's see. Yep. Go, let me add a few more. So 5, linear, step end, steps 5. So you're defining how many steps you want to get to start and how many steps you want to get, for example, to end. And some cubic is here, something like that. This is a very complex. You can actually play with these numbers to build specific, specific timing function. So let me refresh, and you can see that all of them, they're moving in different way. And you might think that looking on these animations, try to guess which one is the faster, the fastest one, let's say. Just try to guess which one is the fastest. Watch carefully. I want to see your answers. Okay. Yeah, so Attic is absolutely right. Even if they moving with different speed and with different, let's say, it looks very different. They still doing the full cycle in the same time, because the duration of the animation here is 4 seconds. But visually, you take it in very, very different way. And this is because, and this is how you basically can trick and manipulate the human mind. Because if you have, for example, the function that, for example, you have a loader, right? And this was a real, actually, story from real life, from real project. Somebody from the company, they had a loader that was loading to load the application, and somebody from business came to developers and said that, can you please make our application faster because it's loading very slowly? And somebody just increased the spinner timing function, so it was spinning slightly fast, it's like faster than it was before. And the feedback that they've got from business, they said, oh, now it's faster, thank you, you fixed that. And this is how this animation functions works. You can actually play with human mind, because you feel that this one is faster, but it's not. But it actually, you have the same timing function and the same duration. And yeah, now we are just joking that if you want to increase the speed of your application, just increase the speed of your loader, change the timing function. So yeah, and again, you probably see, like, from user perspective, if you land on the page and it will slowly go from 1% to 100, and it is slowly, you will probably, like on 20%, you'll say, meh, I don't have time, next time. But if you land on the page and that will load fast to like 90% visually on like loading bar, right, on 95%, and stuck there, you will wait longer, because for you will think, okay, it's 95 already, it shouldn't take long to cover these 5. Again, this is just a psychology, and yeah, you need to think about such things when you build your animation. The same for sliding menus. You need to think about that when you click, you want to make them reactive, so you want to use one function, like a timing function, because that should come quickly, right? So that might be like easy, for example, I don't know, easy out, or yeah, like easy out, it just reacting very quickly. But when you're closing, you might want to have easy in, or yeah, something like that, to see that, to basically play with this animation, you creating the user experience, and you improving or doing worse the user experience on your application. So again, when you're working with animation, think about all these timing functions, because this is very important, and that you'll create basically the feeling of your application, how fast or slow it is. Yeah, so this is our animation. And let me just, here again, as usual, we have examples, we have all potential options that you have. Yeah, we have explanation for each saying. And here I have a few links for you that if you decided to build some, you can actually, this is Cubic Bezier, this thing, that you can actually build your own function. And yeah, basically see that it like in 2 steps, or you can more linear, or you can make it very quickly on the beginning, right? And then very, very slowly, right? So it's very quick. Yeah, something like that, or maybe something. So you basically just, again, you're playing with these numbers. You can build your one custom by this stuff. So technically, if you have yeah, you're basically doing, this is what I said, right? So when you land on the page and you have something like that, that is very quick on the beginning, but let's say something slow. So let's try. Yep, something like that. Again, this is a very useful website. You can check this and apply. Here we have a lot of predefined combinations, which is very helpful for you because you can basically play with all these combinations and you will know, okay, so I want to have this one, for example, or this one, right? So you can actually play and see different animations. So you can just copy paste basically because they have code examples here. Come on, where's code example? It's loading, sorry. It is loading. For some reason this website has stopped. Oh, let me just reload the page. Come on. Yeah, so if you click, wait a second, I'll just explain in a second. So here, basically you can just copy paste the keyframe, right? For this one and just use it. Yeah, again, you have quite a few things here. So about fill mode, do we have a fill mode? So yeah, it's basically how the CSS animation applies styles. So it will go from beginning to the end, or from the end to beginning, or in both directions in the same way. So yeah, this is how, it's hard to explain here because you need to have a long time. The duration of the animation very long to see here. Let me show you. Let me just try to use here. I will comment all of them. Infinite. I'm just thinking, let me just set it just for the first element. Refresh. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. So now the fill mode will be like forwards, right? Is it forwards? Yeah, forwards. That means that if your element go to one direction, it will stay there forever. So let's say I will set 3 or 4, right? 4 cycles, 4 steps. So refresh. Okay, that will take time. Let me just do 1 step. And I don't want to return this element back. So if it goes, basically that should be on 100, right? So I'm just going to the forward. So I'm going from start to the end. So refresh, it goes to the end and stop here. It will never jump back. But if I remove forward and say, backward, refresh, see, it just jumping immediately to the very beginning. And if you do both, to be honest, I never used both. Let's try what it does. So it goes, get there, oh, and stay. Beautiful. Yeah, so to be honest, I'm not sure what both does because I've never used it. But normally, if you want to start animation and get to some point and stay there, you normally use forwards. So this is the thing that you definitely will use because you want to move one element from one place to another and stay there forever. So forward is your thing. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So the last thing, let's actually talk about Devtools because I think that this is useful. This is Devtools here is very powerful, and many people just do not understand or just don't know how to use it. And I bet that I don't know a lot from it. Yeah, sure. I will share slides with you. By the way, let me just share slides. I will share slides straight away. Copy link. Here is our slides. Yep. So let me just go to any website. I don't know. Take Crunch. Let's go to TechCrunch. And let's see what we have. Let's go to any article, any. I don't mind which one. So, Devtools, as I said, they are very powerful. Can you share last class slides? Yeah, sure, I will do that in the end of the lesson. I will do that. Yeah, so with Devtools for HTML and CSS, you basically can edit your HTML here. You can edit your CSS here just to make sure that you have before you go into the code and change your code, you can start adding your code here, and you can change content. So I don't know, we can change this lesson is the best, right? So now you have the different titles, so you can actually play with stuff. I know that good typical jokes when you're starting playing with HTML, you just changing some content and showing the article on the page, right, to someone and saying, hey, look what they have been published. But yeah, so you can actually edit the content just to see what's going on. You can multiply, you can create more elements. For example, here, if you're not sure about, I don't know, the size or what the position, for example, this one, let's select this one. So we have a list item, right? So I can add multiple list items just to see how that will be positioned. And if I'm pasting, right? So I'm just adding more and more stuff and see, okay, so it's positioned in the right way. You can change classes. For example, I can remove class from this one and it just lost some padding. Yeah, some padding. Or you can write CSS for specific element. So when you click on the element, you can just actually set background to green, right? Color to, I don't know, pink or something like that. You might add some padding. Let's say 0 and 1em, something like that. Or text align, center. And when you're happy with your code, you see, okay, so this is what I actually want. You can just copy paste it from here. You just copying, I don't know, go to your code editor and just paste in, right? And you have it. So this is how you normally, if you have some complex HTML and CSS, you probably will do that in the browser first, because it's much easier without jumping and reloading your page, because you're just writing your code here, right? So you're just basically writing code here, and you also can imitate, for example, here, you see that when I'm hovering, it is green, right? Let me just zoom in. So if I'm hovering, it is green. So if you want to see the state of this element, you can click, let me just inspect this element because I'm not selecting this one, and I can imitate hover, right? And you can see stylings that they apply to hover state. You can see it straight away. So you can actually destructure their code and see what do they do. Or what, so normally you're working on some platform and you need to figure out what's going on, why your element is broken, why it's not on the right way, and you can see it from the code. So you normally inspect the elements, and you can use this active, focus, etc., different states to see the actual CSS. So it is very, very powerful thing for debugging front end and layouts. Another thing that not many people use, and I would say not many people know and even less use, is the right click. When you click on the element, for example, let's say I will click on the, let me just refresh the page. So here, for example, we have this element, right? This one. Perfect. So if I hover, I'm just thinking, what can I click so it will change? Yeah, perfect. So you have some URL, right? Some elements. When you click, it will appear. Sometimes we have hover on specific action that you can't actually recreate. So what you can do, please look on this side. It will blink. Your div will blink when I click on the element. It's blinking because that means that you're modifying the tree, DOM tree. That means that for you, if you want to catch this event, you can click, like right click on the element, break on subtree modification or attribute modification or node removal. So for example, if I want to subtree modification, and now if I click on this one, it will stop the execution, right? And if you have something that will pop up and when you click elsewhere just to inspect it, it will disappear. It is very useful because you can click play. One more time. Look at this. So, okay, click, play, right? So now I can just click on this element and inspect it and have everything I need for this element. Yeah, no worries, that's fine. So yeah, again, this is very powerful. You can actually inspect now and you can see this element, you can see all the stylings applied, etc. Basically the whole container. So it is very helpful. And please don't forget, you see this dot blue, that means that we have some rules applied. So please untick and you will not have it here. So now you can just click play and that will disappear as usual, right? So this is a big thing. Again, you can edit your HTML by clicking on any element, edit as HTML, and just start writing your HTML. Like, I don't know, H1. Hello. H1. And click, and we have hello here, right? So you can actually modify the actual layout here without just copy pasting, but actually creating your own custom elements. Yeah, I think from this stuff, also, if sometimes it might be ugly, but in development mode, you have this link here. So this is a link to the code, basically this code in your code base, in actual file. So if you click on the element, you can go to, let me just expand, you can format it, and it just goes straight to this code, and you can see the line of the code of this section. So you can actually find your code much easier, because if you have a huge project and you have thousands lines and or hundreds files of CSS, it's very hard to find something specific, and it's much faster to go to the element on the page, just quickly inspect it, see the stylings, or for example, click on this one, there's something specific. You have something, you click on the code and you go straight away there. So it will take you like 20 seconds to find this code in your code base, because okay, so this is that class. You just copy paste, or you can see the file name and you have the line code. So you can just copy file name, go to your code base and open it straight away without wasting time looking around what's going on. So it is very helpful again. Here it's minified because it's in production, so it's hard to see what is the actual file name. But when you are in development mode, you have the just correct file names. So in my case, if I open my Flexbox, for example, inspect, it shows index.css because I haven't compiled this. I haven't built any production code. That is why if I click on, let's scroll to any point, inspect any element. And here we have some stylings, right? So if not far. Let me just check this element. Yeah. See that we have file name and code line. Yeah, that was a WordPress site. That's correct. So if I click on this one, it jumps to my code there and I can see what we have there, right? So it's pretty easy and helpful. So yeah, I strongly suggest you to use Devtools more because it just saves your time. You can just quickly debug, quickly build something, improvise, add new code, and see how that will be, how that will affect your existing layout. Yes, I think that might be it about the Devtools. We're not talking about JavaScript Devtools because this is completely different story. Yeah. Oh, right. The last bit is that you can actually create a selector, create a new selector. So if you select the element, any element, sorry, I forgot about that. Click on this one. If you want to create a selector for this element, just click plus, and that will automatically create a selector like h1 and article title, because this is h1 element with class article title. Yeah, so you can quickly improvise again with this right selector. Okay, I think that this is it for now. Next time we will definitely, that will be the last lesson, and we will try to build something again. So we'll have a code alone session one more time. Oh, right, sorry, Mercy. So from the last time, we don't have slides because that was code alone. We have just a design for the project that we have been built. Yeah, so sorry for that. I can send a design for the project. Also, I'm not sure if you have a new people here, just as usual. Give me a second. Oh my goodness, where is it? Create invite people. So this is the invite to our Slack channel. If you're working or learning, again, just feel free to join our Slack. We're always happy to help. Yeah, so I think this is it for today. We will, next time again, we will build another landing page together. I hope you will enjoy that. And yeah, it's the end of this course, and next time will be the last lesson, and we will think about next event for you. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Feel free to ask, by the way. No? Okay, yeah, we have one. When you'll start again from beginning chapter? Oh, this is a good question, because we are starting our bootcamp in the end of January. We need to think how we will fit these events. Potentially that will be in the middle of the week, some weekday. Not sure about that, but we will try to fit it and run it, because our lessons for bootcamp will be on weekends. But we will try to do our best to fit it. Yeah. So we are planning to run some JavaScript lessons as well. run maybe some workshops about Next.js. This is for people who are already familiar with JavaScript and like React, etc. But we'll see. We definitely run some lessons about JavaScript just to help you with JavaScript. Yeah, and yeah, I think this is it for now. Okay. Anything else? Thank you, Lester. Okay, then thank you for today, and I will see you next week, next Saturday. Enjoy your weekend.